Yes, we got it. This is Terrell Harris from the Open Box, joined by my beautiful wife.
Brooke Harris.
And tonight, what we wanted to discuss is we're big Mary fans as it relates to the reality series.
And their music. I love their music.
And their music.
Mm-hmm.
And outside of the dress scandal, what we actually wanted to do is talk about something that's going on in the season, and that is one of the Mary sisters has had infidelity in her relationship, and she has decided to air it to the public, and we wanted to discuss our take on that.
Mm-hmm.
So it is Tina Campbell, who actually had her husband cheat on her, I believe it was multiple times, right?
Mm-hmm. Or with multiple women.
Multiple women over the course of a few years, and she actually lets the cameras in on this particular aspect of her marriage as she decided to struggle in terms of would she stay or would she leave. And she actually decided that she would stay with Teddy and work out their relationship, which kind of shocked the both of us. I don't know. Did it shock you?
No. I mean, I think as things unfolded, it got a little bit shocking, but I think initially I wasn't shocked.
I think initially it seemed like they wanted to, they played it like she was going to potentially stay and then they were separated, but ultimately she decided to forgive him. She said she prayed on it, and she did something I don't even think Jesus requires us to do. So looking at scripture before we get into our viewpoints on this, in Matthew 5 verse 31 through roughly 33, Jesus says, it was also said, whoever divorces his wife, let him give her a certificate of divorce. But I say to you that anyone who divorces his wife, except on the grounds of unchastity, causes her to commit adultery, and whoever marries a divorced woman commits adultery. So you see in this particular passage, which is also found in Mark and it's also found in Luke, there's a clause here. Jesus is saying that basically the only out for marriage is unchastity. And this particular word here has to do with anything that relates to, I guess the Greek word is porneia, so it's anything that relates to any sexual immorality. So not just cheating, maybe lust and things along those lines. So according to scripture, even though some people say there isn't an out for divorce, there actually is, and it's cheating or sexual immorality. So with that said, if I have multiple partners outside of the marriage,
mm-hmm.
and was cheating, and you found out, what would you do? Would you forgive me? Would you have the love of Christ and take me back?
Well,
yes, that's
well, no, that's the question. Okay, so since I'm really trying to be sure that I am concise and succinct in my responses. To make this video short, I'm going to say no. Thank you all for watching. This is the Open Box. We're done. I mean, I think it depends. I think, when I was younger, it was a quick no. Like, somebody cheats on me, I'm done. But since we're in a marriage, it's a different element. I'm not the young one who's just done. Like, I made a commitment, a covenant with you. So, and then looking at different forms of cheating. Is it emotional only? Is it sexual only? Is it emotional and sexual? I have to look at that. And so my initial response would be no, but I think it's more so it would depend on the situation. And I know a big part of relationships for me, not just, marriage, but also family relationships, friendships, and all that, is trust. Mm-hmm. So to cheat on me would break trust tremendously, and that's really hard for me to get back with somebody. So I would have to consider so many different things and not just say, well, you cheated on me, so we're done, but other things as well.
So you said a maybe, a possibility that you could reconcile.
I think there's always that possibility.
I'm gonna let you know, my wife Brooke is a better Christian than I am, because if she cheats, it's a wrap. And we were talking about this earlier in terms of how we would do this video, but no, it's really a wrap, and mainly because she painted it real cute and everything like that, but Brooke doesn't really rock with cheating. Like cheating, like that was one of her pet peeves that she expressed to me early. Don't cheat. You know, she doesn't like cheating. It's bad and everything like that. So for me, outside of that fact of broken trust and everything like that, I'm gonna tell the truth. I would think you were a hypocrite if you cheated on me. So that would make it even worse. You know, it would be a wound, like a stab wound, but then it'd be like, well, she cheated, didn't like cheating, and made it clear at the beginning of our relationship that this was almost grounds for dismissal. So it's a stab wound and it's a twist. It's a kick in the face. It's a kick in the gut. So I think for me it would be like, wait a minute, you gave me this big thing on cheating and then now you cheated. So I think for me it would be real hard to not necessarily forgive you. I can forgive you from a distance, like at like 5 or 6 years or something like that. And, taking down all your open box posts, deleting your accounts, stuff like that. After all of that, and then I'll get the open box problem by myself, and then kind of show it off to you. But then I forgive you, but it'll be from a distance, and I don't think we can be married. But I think basically for us, we've kind of established ground rules early, and I don't think most people actually kind of set the ground rules for their marriage in terms of, if you cross this line, it's a wrap, or if you cross this line, maybe we could work it out, but we can't be in a relationship. So one of the tools we actually used in the beginning of our marriage is this book called His Needs, Her Needs.
Can you see it?
Let's see, can you see? I don't know. It may be a little bit of a glare.
By Willard F. Harley Jr.
Oh, there it is. Let me get it above the thing. Yes. So basically the concept of this book here is one of the things Harley Jr. talks about is a love bank. And the premise of this book is called His Needs, Her Needs, Building an Affair-Proof Marriage. Is he talks about building up points in a love bank. And when you do things that are hurtful and do things that are wrong, you subtract from that love bank, and ultimately it potentially could come to a breaking point. Or if you have other people depositing into this love bank more than you are, it causes it could cause infidelity or cause a attention shift to another individual. So
meaning your mate. Your mate. Someone else is depositing more than your mate.
Yeah. So it's like you give somebody access to the checking account, and they're putting more money in the checking account to you. So you have to always be sure that you're putting positive things into the love bank and making sure that pretty much you're building up that love savings account. This way, when bad things do happen, you don't overdraft or you're not on empty.
Yeah, and the other major part of the book is learning what each other needs, like what's really important to one another. So, is it important as a husband, is it important for you to have your domestic life very well taken care of? And as a wife, is it important for you to be financially stable? Those are stereotypes, by the way. But, whatever it is that's your thing, it could be those or other things. And there's I think a list of like 5 or so of them for each spouse. Based on gender in there, and he's really talking about looking at those needs and having your partner as well as you cater to the other's needs, because that is what increases the money in your love bank, as opposed to getting taken out. Do you need emotional comfort and stability? All these different things. You gotta check the book out. It was really helpful for us to talk about and to really realize what it is that we need from each other, so that we could be the ones to supply it to each other, as opposed to somebody else, coming in.
Yeah, we've bought this book for our friends. We lend it out. Also, they have exercises in the book to let you know what you guys should be doing together based on how much you like activities. Sometimes that stuff does shift, but then it gives you a good baseline for what you could do to enjoy each other's time doing activities outside the house and things along those lines. So I would say pick up this book. It's a very helpful book, and the great thing about it is, fellas, you know how you can't necessarily understand females' language, and females, you can't really understand us. The author the author of the book actually writes in a way where if you have to he writes this in a way to where when you're reading about the female, he puts it in terms that a male will understand, and when you're reading about the male, he puts it in terms where the female will understand. So you go through this book as a couple. That you should discuss every chapter, and this is probably something that can be done now. It could be done if you did have an affair, but it would be beneficial if this type of book is used prior to your relationship.
Yeah, and then if you do have any situations that happen where there's some infidelity and your mate, like mine, has said that he will leave you high and dry, just know that there are other fish in the sea.
What?
That's what's on my mind.
Wow.
Replaceable.
She says that, but I got plenty of dough in this love bank, right? Yeah, okay. So this is what we want you to do. Subscribe to the channel. And also, what have you done to affair-proof your marriage? What are you doing to make sure that you and your spouse are a unified couple? And also, if your spouse cheated, would you forgive them? And if you forgave them, would you actually stay in the marriage, or what would you do? So we want you to place that in the comments below. Mm-hmm. You can place it on the website. Anything else you want to tell me?
Yeah, and also, do you think it's different if you're married or not? Like if you're in a long-term committed relationship, do you see it differently?
Yep.
Put that down there too.
Thanks for tuning in. This is Terrell Harris.
Brooke Harris.
And you can find me at Mr. Terrell Harris on Twitter. She's at Land of Brooke. Go follow her. We're trying to get her followers up. And then you can also follow at The Open Box at Twitter as well for more updates. And we'll put those links in the status bar below. Peace and blessings.